Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Today we are here
Waalaikumsalam.
with another episode of NAVAFIZ. Here we will be talking about the recruitment and the strategies of employee sourcing in the digital age. And I would like to introduce you with our honorable guests, Dr. Fareed Zafar and Nadir Muhammad Abbasi. They are human resources experts. So first, I would request Mr. Fareed Zafar to give short introduction about his background. So over to you, Dr. Fareed, and most welcome. Thanks for giving your time and so please introduce our audience about your background so they can get the idea.
Thank you, Liaqa Saab. Thank you for giving the opportunity to come and talk to the audience. Uh, I've been associated with the HR, technology, project management, culture change for the last 27 years. I've done my MBA, I've done my MS. Recently, I have completed my doctorate in this field of toxic leadership, which is very well practiced in Pakistan, but not known to anyone. So I think, yeah, you have chosen a very interesting topic, um, and I can share some of the highlights of my career with the public and private sector organization which we have practiced, and I hope to have a very good interactive session. Thank you.
Right, right. Thank you very much once again. It's really nice to know your technical background and your details. So over to you, Nadir. Nadir, can you tell us about your background in human resources and other fields?
Thank you, Mr. Liaquat, for having me, and Mr. Fareed, Dr. Fareed, for joining the session. Uh, I have been in HR since last 17 years. I have experience in the setting up HR function, talent acquisition and talent management, performance management, and org culture, organizational development, learning and employee engagement. And I've done my master's in HRM, and I'm enjoying this field actually. And yeah, as Dr. Fareed said, the topic is interesting, so I try to contribute well as well, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. So let's start with our first question, and it is about what are the most effective recruiting strategies you have found in finding the top talent. So it's although it's a big question, it might be a time taking, and if we go in more detail, it's a vast. But in short, if you can explain.
Yeah, so I'm glad you've asked this. So it's a whole, you can say, journey of how outsourcing and recruitment has been done, and most of the experiences is in the Pakistan, environment. So I can talk about that. So this before we talk about actually strategy, the most important thing I would like to highlight is that as an organization, you have to select the brand which you want to portray to the audience. It means candidates and all over the you can say the industry, what you're trying to portray an organization as a brand which has value, which has diversity as one of the component, which is a best paymaster. So the best part is that I think we should start with the clear, crisp brand image. So the first strategy for me would be having a brand image which is, you can say the best organization to work with. There are not a lot of surveys which we see coming up with regard to you can say students and co-workers. They talk about the best employer of the year goes to this organization. So the first point is the clear, crisp brand image. Number two, I think you have to have a whole mechanics behind in terms of technology how the sourcing of your organization would be taking place. Means Is there a platform which can support you? Is there a manual system? So we have, since I have started working, I have seen people start work in Excel and then ERP systems. Then it has enhanced to up to a level where we see organization as an opportunity marketplace. So the number two is your technology system, which going to be supporting the base of the chunk of resources and where all those profiles and CVs are being managed, and where people coming into your organization's landing page, they're going to be applying. So these are the two things. Number three is you have to be very clear about the job which you want to hire for. So the clear, crisp job description and expectations from the person going to be joining this position, that has to be set very clear. Number fourth, I think the most important thing, which again is the infrastructure which you have built around the resourcing group. It consists of maybe screening, shortlisting, turnaround time, number one. Number two, maybe the interviews, how good and how well managed your interviews are. Number third is how good and effective your feedback is, once the interview is. So everything is there in terms of creating the brand image. And number fifth, I think, the strategy which I personally like most. Although you say it creates a bias, but I think having an employee referral scheme in the organization can add a very good value. Referral means a person being sourced, and then all those references which can validate the work which the person has performed, the quality, through which the person demonstrate the competencies and the leadership. So that should also be now cross-checked, and I think these five attributes can add great value to the resource.
I think you're mute. Liaquat can't hear you.
Sorry, my mic was mute. It was great, especially the point when you highlighted about referral. People mostly take it as a negative, but it's actually very positive, and this is what we call it power of networking. So very, very well explained. Moving on to our next question. How do you approach sourcing and identify potential candidates? So it's almost similar question to the previous, but a
Yeah.
little different angle.
So yeah, so first we talked about strategy. Now we're going to the actually the point where we are making contact with the candidates, and we are thinking that we should, uh, the person who is, you can say, marketing the role should understand what actually this position is all about. Number one. You should also understand the qualification and specification required for the role. you know so number two. Number three, uh, as a people division, or you can say HR department, you have to start using variety of sourcing channels. You cannot just rely on the most popular one, the LinkedIn, or maybe Monster, or maybe Rosie, or so they have to be various channels, because variety of people, they work on, when they post their profile, they post on number of channels. So this is you have to you know get hold of. Number third is going to be, the personalized touch as an organization, which you give to the post, the job post. And what that means is that how clear you are in your communication with the applicant, number one. Number two, what are the strengths of the organization which you want to sell, which will help people to join your organization. And number fifth, I can say that, you always, when you bring in people, you always show them what is their future path. what this position can lead to. So this is a mix of what I think the key steps.
Right, excellent, great. Uh, Moving on, I'm moving to Mr. Nadir. Mr. Nadir, if you can just elaborate in your words what Mr. Fareed has highlighted. In addition, if you can answer that, how do you evaluate and pass a candidate qualification and fit? How you know that this candidate is fit for that position? Because normally when we advertise a job, we receive thousands of applications, but then it becomes difficult to evaluate that which one to select and which one to reject. Especially rejecting part is becomes more difficult when it's almost near situation. So what are the tips and tricks you have used, or what should be used as per your recommendations?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Liaquat. So first of all, I would like to actually thank Mr. Fareed, Dr. Fareed, for highlighting employer branding part, which is for me as well is very very important to attract top talent. You will not be able to attract top talent without working on your employer brand. So this is, yes, very important aspect, and thank you, Dr. Farid, for highlighting this and mentioning this. This is very important. So let's come to the question: how do you evaluate and assess a candidate qualification and fit for a position? So for any recruiter, either you outsource this part or you do it yourself, is matching the candidate profile with the job specification. This is a very very basic and initial step to sort out the out of the thousand CVs you have received on a job post. So by matching the required qualification and experience and skill set, which is which actually should be mentioned in the job specification which you have received. Secondly, have the candidate sit for one or actually more than one interview, and by asking behavioral or and situational questions. This will definitely help a lot to find out the candidate potential and more about his experiences and his skills during his tenure of employment or uh, his expertise. And if the position is technical and of entry level to mid career, mid level, uh, I suggest and I generally what I do is to assess the candidate technical abilities through a skill test, which actually to helps to find out his technical uh, abilities academically. This is only for the entry level and mid level positions, uh, and this is also very important part to background and reference check is also very important.
Right. Excellent. Now moving on to next to Mr. Fareed. Uh, if you can share any particular example where the hiring situation was very difficult, and in continuity to the previous question, that okay, we know that job description and the criteria and other things, but if you can give one example, so the points which Nadir has highlighted becomes more clear.
Yeah, so there are challenges, working for 25 years and doing a lot of recruitment. So I have worked in a lot of technical organizations. For example, I'd say my journey is mostly in the oil and gas sector and in the banking sector. So in Pakistan Petroleum Limited, and also at Energy in Karachi Electric. So we had to find very specialized people, and people with specialized expertise. So there have been times that we are about to start a project in talking about Pakistan Petroleum, and there is an offer which is coming to a person who has negotiated very well, and I think this happens around 30% of the cases in all the recruitment, when the person agrees to come with you and then take the offer and get it cash from the previous organization. So I just wanted to highlight this point just because people who are going to be listening and they are this practice of negotiating with both the parties, they shouldn't do this. I mean, this is unethical practice in the field, in the organization. So yeah, you can say the example of difficult hiring is when a person gets what he or she wants and as an offer, and then get it cash from the respective. So this is one point which is the most painful point for any recruiter. So I just wanted to highlight this. Yeah.
Correct. So this is what we say becomes the most challenging, or you can say most difficult things. Right. So, Mr. Nadir, how do you stay current on industry trends? Because the things are moving now very fast, especially I think the changes which we see in the history, the speed, especially IT has speed up everything. And now the changes and speed of life has also become very, you can say, very fast, and competitions are also become very uh, difficult, or you can say, I don't know this, we should we should consider that, okay, we born in a good time, or we were born in a time where when competition is very tough. uh, so if we talk about IT, changes are too in a very high speed, and that IT is impacting other fields also to go more faster or more things. So in when we talk about recruitment best practices, from your point of view, how you cope up with the changing trends, as our title of our topic is also the strategic changes in the digital age. So question is more relevant to the digital age also, plus changing trends also. How you stay current to the industry trends?
Okay, so yeah, you're very right. IT is drastically taking over as the day passes, and so this is more to it. Now AI, artificial intelligence is I don't know. It's should I call it dangerous or what? Because it's the time of artificial intelligence, AI. Every aspect, every profession, there's a uh, the terminology, new technology coming in. So AI is going to take over very soon. It actually the process has started already. So yeah, so networking is very important. The one aspect is to keep yourself updated and upgraded with the latest industry trend is networking. And and there are a lot of social media platforms, including LinkedIn, the most popular one. Uh, this is very helpful, connecting yourself with the recruiting leaders, uh, and following the recruitment blogs, attending the events, latest trends, and I also follow because they are posting some very good articles. Harvard Business Review. This is very helpful as well. I follow this, and I'm also a member of PSTD. It's in Pakistan Society for Training and Development, and attending their seminars and events. This will actually help me to keep myself updated with latest recruitment trends and best practices in recruitment. And yes, the technology is growing rapidly. So we should, everyone who is in this sector, keep themselves updated.
And also, Nadir, what has started to happen is so lot of HR solutions, or you can say recruitment solutions, they are now coming up with the best practices taken by maybe the gurus of the industry. So first they maybe consult gurus of the industry, and then they start to bring those processes into as a technology into the system. And for example, I have worked a lot on SAP Success Factors, which is itself a whole ERP cloud-based integrated program. It has reached up to a I think a next level of how to bring in the community to one place where they can flourish, where they can develop, where they can have a marketplace of all the opportunities. So this is also, I think, what we have used up till now.
Yeah, very rightly and timely mentioned. They actually these ERP systems are actually suggest the questions as well. You know, to be asked with the specific position and the uh, titles you are recruiting for. Do they suggest questions? And yeah, you're right. The ERP is actually helpful as well.
So it means that artificial intelligence is now coming into recruitment.
Yeah, it is actually already.
Yes, artificial intelligence and also machine learning. So the
Yeah.
the systems are now they're learning as soon as we keep processing data and putting in information. The machines are also learning themselves. So uh, I think the future, I think it's going to be a very high tech resourcing where the organization need to may not need to go in terms of branding. Employees going to be having one space, positions going to be flowing in from all of the places, and then they can select, and the machine going to be matching the best profile the candidate has themselves, and then they will say, okay, can you please hire this person. So yeah, a lot of AI is going into this matching profile system, and also definitely also scanning them, screening them, shortlisting them, and then how the person has responded in interviews. All those are being now recorded, and then there's a development plan coming out from that for the person. If he she been rated on that interview, that this is your development plan, you can now focus more on your communication, maybe clarity of speech, or maybe you can say the concepts of HR. So things are moving towards that.
So actually,
Yeah.
you're right.
And
Sorry, I would like to add one more thing. The applicant tracking system is already doing that part which I mentioned earlier to shortlist the candidate as per the basic criteria with matching with your job specification. So this is actually taking over by that applicant tracking system. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
yeah, so it means that we should think that in future our salary increments and appraisals and everything will be by a machine, by a computer, by
It
by a
currently
computer
right now,
software.
yeah, it is being done, uh, except the appraisal part. I mean, once the appraisal is done in terms of evaluation, I think after that everything is just done by machine. So this is what the system what we are now using. um, so in my organization, we have a system which is going to be, as soon as you are done with your performance management, there are three legs coming out. Number one is the learning, number two is the development program, and number third is what you're going to be getting in terms of compensation. So and this is how the system now they have started to work.
Right, right. So moving on to our next question, that how do you handle and evaluate references and background check of potential candidates? So normally, and in addition to this question, I would also like to ask that many people they mention in their resume also at the end references. Sometimes they just mention that references available on request, and sometimes they are mentioning the reference itself also. What is the importance of that? And plus, how do you check the reference, and do you really ask for the references also?
So, to allow me to answer, Dr. Farid. So, actually, to answer it in a shortest possible way, no, there's no need to mention on your profile or CV that references will be available upon request. So recruiters don't check that part, and it is irrelevant. So I suggest, and I'm sure if you agree, Dr. Fareed and Dr. Saab, so do not mention this part in your profile or CV. So yeah, organizations these days as well do require and ask for the references uh, for the purpose of reference check and background check. So it is very important to have a clear plan in place. This cannot be done by the way. So there should be a clear plan. So basically, it is also very important that candidate understands that you are going to do a reference and background check, and who is going to call on company's behalf to the references you have provided on the form, on the performa, or on your CV, and what information will be needed. Number eight. Number two, use a standard form of questions or prepare a questionnaire, and so that same questions will be sent to all the references. It will help you to compare the answers. So this will be very helpful for all the recruiters out there. And at least two references, yeah, two to three should be checked to get the clear picture of the candidate experience and personal traits. Uh, Now these days, especially, there are a lot of background check agencies. Why I'm mentioning this? Because this will help you eliminate any unlawful act. So this will the agency will actually help you complete the background and reference check, keeping the legal aspects in mind. So yeah, this is how it should be done, and I'm also following the same procedure. If Dr. Fareed want to add something.
No, I think another you are spot on. This is what the practice is. The only part I would want to highlight is uh, so what's not happening in Pakistan is in Pakistan you may not would like to, you may not mention the references, but yeah, abroad they specifically are very particular about asking what your who's your referee. So and they ask three names of referee and they check it, and the recommendation has a lot of value. You know, in Pakistan, what I've seen is the reference check and all other documents, as mentioned by you, has been are sent to organizations who are doing this education and reference check and professional checks of the person who has worked earlier in various organizations. So yeah, but abroad it is you can say the must thing, and uh, the reference has a very strong impact on the hiring selection decision.
Yeah, you are right. But mainly thing is, if normally we keep the resume short and sweet and to the point, so we skip the on the resume. But yes, there are companies who ask for the referral, and then if you provide them, uh, they either take it, mostly they take it in the positive way. So when you provide reference, you should know that okay, you are providing your active and genuine references. And one more thing which we used to highlight, that you don't use the overdated references list. No, sometime there is some guy who has a good relation with you, then you put him in the reference, and in between something happened, or he's not in a good relationship with you, but he's still in your reference read, so then it can go in a in other way also. Right. So moving on to the next question, that normally when we talk about the abroad, or in case of UAE or in the Gulf region, there is many companies, they require that there should be diversity in the uh, different nationalities, and there should not be kind of monopoly or something. And on the other hand, some companies have a rule that two brothers should not be working in the same company, or husband and wife should not become working in the same company, and things like that. So from your point of view, how do you ensure diversity and inclusion in the recruitment and hiring process?
Okay, so first thing, what I believe is should be to examine the job description. Your JD should not include and devoid of any wordings that discourage discourage any group of from applying. So your job description should be clear and should highlight the diversity and inclusion part. Screening without regard to a candidate race, gender, and personal likings or dislikings or traits. This will also help to ensure that your recruitment process is within the context of diversity and inclusion. Also, by focusing on the candidates' qualifications, skills, and experiences during the interview process, uh, again, and avoid making any assumptions uh, based on his or her past experiences or whatever happened in his life or her life. So, again, yes, uh, by following these simple steps, we can ensure, and there are a lot more to it, and this is a very big topic. But by following these simple steps, you can ensure, okay, at least at initial level, there is diversity inclusion is part of our recruitment and hiring process.
Right. And then moving on to Dr. Farid again, how do you measure the success of your recruitment efforts, and how do you make improvement? Now we are focused on the person himself, the recruiter himself. So before, I think in the whole
Mm,
process we were talking about the outside, how he can control the things coming from outside. Now
mm.
himself, how, or the company
So,
process or procedure, how it is how we can measure and improve.
so that there are a lot of matrices right now in the people space where you can evaluate and you can check about how the KPI is being met, whether the person. But for me, the best thing, the one and the, you can say the one item which going to be lasting forever is whether the person is staying in the organization and fulfilling the objectives. I mean, this is one measure, and how good your recruitment was. This, the number of years the person going to be staying. It means the person is also happy, satisfied, and number two, you have done a good job in terms of recruitment. But apart from that, there are number of matrices you can uh, you know uh, check through how the recruitment was done. Maybe the time to hire, the quality of hire, the cost per hire. So have you gone through the different channel of hiring services of headhunter, whether the recruitment team have done themselves, whether have you invested a lot in the system, and then it was the profile came to you through use of technology, quality of hire, the qualified candidates per opening. Maybe you can say about the offer you are making, the acceptance rate of your offer. So the number of checks where the source of hire, you can say the source of hire is from which the top job sites, maybe the top recruiters, or how many days it required to hire. And the now the most important thing what we have started is, I think I should share, we provide the opportunity to candidates that they fill a survey for the interviewee and interviewer both. It means we are doing it for the person we are interviewee, and the interview is going to be filling a survey how the interview was after the interview. So this is going to be giving us back the amount of maybe time we have spent. Number two, the quality of interview, whether we were well prepared or not. All those areas. I think this is something which we have started recently. I mean, last year we started that.
This
Right.
will also help the recruiters and the HR heads or CHROs to improve the recruitment process. Yeah, this survey and feedback form will definitely help.
Yeah, the feedback is, as Nathan mentioned, the feedback is the key to everything. So we have very, for the last 3 years, we have been working in the organizations to you can say promote feedback culture. Any sort of feedback, whether it is performance based, whether it is culture based, your UI UX, your technology, your admin, anything and everything, it has to have a feedback so we can improve, so we can make things better.
Right. Now we talk about yourself. So before we were talking about general recruitment process. So as you have a vast experience, and you are highly experienced also, and you have been on a team leader position also. Uh, you have, what was the unique or innovative way or any interesting experience from your professional career, professional history, if you can share, which you have used personally or you experienced, or anything
So I
interesting
think
or
that
innovative?
I in the last I'm going to be in the last I'm going to be mentioning what we are heading towards. I mean, what we have now started to do. But before that, I think what we need to, number one, as I mentioned, that the innovative technique is your organization, the person of most favorite organization the person should go to. So that is the branding, number one. Number two, I think the what we have started to use is, we have some gamified, you can say, cognitive testing abilities. Test means this is how we at the people at the level. So all the recruitment at various levels have various unique techniques to evaluate. So my favorite one at the lead level was the assessment centers, and also the you can say maybe a personality test, but I know many of them can fake it. The personality testing is like not very in these days, but yeah, these gamification, you can say, the test through gamification adds a good value to your screening process, and it's one of the technique which is being used. Number two, I think, is at an initial level you have to create the base. You have to be connected with the best schools you have, the universities you have. What we have now done is we have made alliances with engineering universities like GIK and NUST and NED again. So you already go and do the job fairs. But what you should do is make an alliance, keep your eyes open. The recruitment team must keep reading what is coming in their way as in terms of new recruitment techniques in the world. Apart from that, stay connected with the organizations, means educational institutes, both local and foreign. And um, I remember one technique which we used to do was we used to sponsor people for a foreign degree qualification as an organization before the person has even joined. So people, for example, I worked with an organization in the petroleum industry, and we had lack of resources in the you can say petroleum engineering, you can say reservoir engineering, and uh, production engineering. So we used to send we used to have a scholarship program, and students picked from the uh, uh, universities were sent for their master's degree abroad, fully funded. And apart from that, they were given a stipend too in terms of covering the expenses. And then when they they came back, they had to serve the organization for maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So this is one technique which now organizations are not using. So, and in the last, one more thing was, you must promote your uniqueness. How unique your organization is, in terms of values, in terms of culture, in terms of ambiance, maybe in terms of, you can say, if you're very good with social responsibility, why don't you, if you're very good with that, we are very good with DNI. So that is our top most agenda, DNI. So this is what we are doing. The last thing which I wanted to highlight, the technique what we are doing is, we are using whole employee base, internal and external, as opportunity marketplace. So what's going to happen is, in my organization, in an organization as a group, we will send various projects, gigs, you can say objectives, throughout in the organization. And people who are interested, maybe for example, I was a finance background but joined HR, but I saw a finance project which I think I can contribute to, maybe a budgeting project or something, or manpower planning budgeting. So I said, can I be enrolled in that program? So I am learning, I am enhancing my skills, I am so the learning and development process is now taking place within the organization, and also uh, asking people from outside, that the technology solution going to be pulling in people who have the same skill set, match with them, and then bring it into the system as a profile. So this is what we are doing now.
Great, great. So it means that if you don't find the talent, create the talent. So develop
Of
it.
course, yeah.
They say if the door is not opening, create your own door. Something like that. This kind of statement is there. I'm not getting the exact wording, but something like that. So moving on to our last question, last technical question, and moving to Mr. Nadir again. How do you handle and respond to a candidate feedback, both positive and negative? So it's a positive feedback. I think not a big issue, especially negative feedback. Uh, it, it demoralize the person, or sometimes we feel that okay, we have done something wrong, or sometimes we feel guilty also. So how do you handle it?
So, okay, this is also a very important part of the recruitment and hiring process. Uh, we as a recruiter must pay attention to the what actually the candidate have to say and take their thoughts into account, irrespective if they are positive or negative. So, actually, negative feedback helps the HR function as a whole and the recruiter and the recruitment department to improve upon their weaknesses and loopholes. So, acknowledging the positive feedback is also very important, and by thanking the candidate of sharing the feedback which is positive, and address any concern raised by the candidate in their feedback. So again, I take it as a very important part because it helps me improve uh, the process, the overall process.
Right, right. So, Dr. Faith, would you like to add any point from your side on this feedback type, especially because what I see many job seekers, they are not happy with the recruiters because recruiter has to reject many and select few, and then according to that, how is your experience?
So very rightly pointed out by Nadir. Yeah, this is the most important thing of, and you can't say it's the last thing. It probably gonna be again the first thing for the next interview, or for the next hiring. So this is the most important element of how you as an organization has done it, not the person. But the person is representing an organization So before you make an appointment, interview appointment, you want candidate to be interviewed, you just think of how it would be when you are going to be coming in as a candidate. So this is number one. Number two is so the feedback from, so I have a very clear understanding of what is good and what is not bad in terms of, if I have not done good, I know I was wrong. Or I know I was not up to the mark. So that is something not based on the feedback, but I know myself that I have not done good. Maybe I made the person sit for 30 minutes or maybe 40 minutes. Maybe I uh, some sort of ask questions which were very direct and which were not appreciated by the candidates. Maybe I showed some attitude which is more, you can say, hostile, so I exactly know what is wrong and what is, when I'm done with the interview, what is bad. Yeah. So so the feedback should be appreciated, number one. Number two, if you won't get feedback, you won't improve. So if it's a bad feedback, not many people are going to be even applying, or not many. So right now this is a social um, interaction era where everyone just picks one page and then types in the interview was pathetic, or maybe the organization has done this. I was sitting there for 1.5 hours. They didn't even ask for water, tea, on all sort of things. They start popping up. So yeah, so have to give employee, the candidates, the best experience which can match with the organization's profile.
Right, excellent, excellent. So I was about to ask that in the end, what will be your closing message or remarks for recruiters and job seekers, and your last lines are almost matching with the with that recruiters should treat candidates in more positive way, because the candidate has is coming to you with lot of suffering in many cases. So it was really nice talking to both of you. And Dr. Farid,
My pleasure.
especially the points when you highlighted your way of explaining the points, and when you go at point one, point two, point three, you make the topic very clear and easy to understand and easy to remember also. Uh, it was really great. So at the end, I would like to have closing
Thank
remarks
you.
from your side, and any message for recruiters and job seekers which can help professionals, or the even those who are already in the field or want to come in the field, uh, from any aspect, if you can give a message, your personal message.
Is it from Nadir or me?
If we can get it from
Okay.
you first,
So
and then
yeah,
we can
so
get from another.
yeah, so the message is very clear. I mean, you as a recruiter, you are representing your organization. Yeah, like we represent our family, the same way you represent your organization. You should, number one, be able to sell your organization. Number two, make person or people, whoever are applying for that position, make them enable them to apply in a way that the process is smooth, number one. Number two, they end up having a good name for the organization process. Whether they're selected or not selected, everyone should say, oh, I think that was done very professionally. Because it's just about the recruitment, I would like to say. And number third, for the candidates, please prepare before you appear for any of the interviews or the hiring process. Read the job carefully. Don't fit yourself if you are not a fit. you know don't try to fit yourself by changing the words. If you're not a fit, it would be exposed. So that is the the only message. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And Nadir, your closing remarks and message for the professionals.
Yeah, sure. For recruiters, I would like to add one thing what Mr. Farid has said already. Uh, at the end of the day, it is all about employee experience. So you should portray yourself as the Dr. Farid has explained. So for job seekers, I have few advices. Uh, as far as LinkedIn is concerned, uh, in these days I've seen a lot of posts where I don't know who they are actually, but they're posting we have so many positions and around the world available, and just hit like or comment and we will review your profile. So, and on that post, there are thousands of likes and comments. So, to the job seekers, do not comment or like on these posts because they are not going to check your profile. And again, uh, Mr. Farid has said already that don't fit yourself if you are not a fit. So, if I post a job, for example, mechanical engineer, so so 20 to 30% of the profiles we have received is not of a mechanical engineer. So those are unsolicited and not related to the vacancy we have announced. So yes, read the job descriptions, read the job title clearly, and then apply, and then increase your chances of being shortlisted for initial stages. This is my advice to the job seekers.
Rightly said. Especially you said 20 to 30%, but actually, my experience is more irrelevant and only few relevant. So that
Agreed,
that
agreed. Yeah.
that job seeker by themselves make the hiring process more complicated. I, once again, I would like to say thanks, Dr. Farid, and thanks, Nadir. It was really great session, and we really enjoyed. And with those note, I would say thank you to our audience
Thank
also.
you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
and
Jay.
keep in touch. Take care, and Allah